Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Take Two. We're kind of continuing our 2026 kickoff with hearing from Oracle experts on what they've enjoyed and what successes they had in 2025 and what they're looking forward to or challenged by, or they think the next hurdle is for 2026. I'm really excited to invite Gary Crisci to join me. He has been a big friend, supporter in the Kscope world. We've done the user group circuits together for 20 years. But it was really funny because when I was asked to write a short blurb about, what his focus is, what his tech zoom in is, I literally couldn't come up with more than he's the analytics guy. And he's traded in his work at GE for his work at AI. So I'm really excited to hear more. So Gary, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Mia. Yeah, I mean, it's funny you said it. It's definitely over 20 years all the time with ODTUG and Kscope and things like that, paths crossing and of course careers evolve. I actually started my career in finance, so by heart I'm a functional person. I was in credit and lending, treasury and cash flow management. And then I got into EPM, right? So enterprise performance management back when it was still Hyperion, acquired by Oracle, and then of course came up through the Oracle ecosystem. For many years, I worked at Morgan Stanley, where I did a lot of EPM applications as well as different types of applications to support the global wealth management business. And then for the past decade or so, I was at General Electric, where we did a ton of Oracle EPM work, everything from enterprise standard chart of accounts, building an entire shared service at the time, what was the world's largest Exalytics implementation,
Wow.
cloud road mapping, moving things to EPM cloud and SaaS. And along those years, what I was really doing is kind of growing into an enterprise architect, and that was kind of my last role at GE Healthcare, was the chief enterprise architect, TOGAF
That's a
certified.
big, that's
And
a dangerous combo. A functional
yeah,
analyst who's an enterprise architect. You could take over the world with that
I'd like to
combination.
think so. I'd like to think so. And so
Yeah,
yeah, and so most recently, I think like everybody else, really looking at what AI does. Uh, and I approach everything with a skeptical, discriminating view. Not skeptical to be negative, but just see through the hype. What do we really do with this? How do we really make use of this? I've sat through enough vendor presentations to know there's always another story behind the demo. I joined the folks at Caprus, which is an AI consulting firm. I kind of after I left GE earlier this year and started my own advisory practice, and I work at consulting, and I work with Caprus as their fractional CTO, and it's really great because it's brought me back around to the Oracle fold. For a while there, I wasn't doing as much with Oracle. The last couple years I was focused on divestiture activity, things like that. Uh, and now to be able to come back and say like, okay, that EPM world is pretty solid. That's a very mature stack.
yeah.
But now, how do we bring something like AI and connect those two worlds in a meaningful way to support the business? I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, especially I find like a lot of EPM, et cetera, has been kind of partner driven, not necessarily the business analyst driven. So
Mhm.
that whole world, like everybody kind of has their EPM set up, they have their partners they work with, et cetera. And I think AI is kind of this nice opportunity to bring it back to the business users, right? Like let them drive a bit, let them have ad hoc, not have to define necessarily everything from in the
Yeah,
beginning, you not have consultants for everything, right? For them to be able to use their own natural language.
you're ticking on my enterprise architecture pet peeves, right?
Oh, sorry.
No, in a good way, right? Because that right there is, you're describing some of the problem right there, which is this idea that technology should be in the front. And it shouldn't be. Technology should be subordinate to what the business needs, what the business does. Technology is a tool, it's an enabler. It helps us scale, go faster, be more accurate, but it is not the start and the end of what needs to be done. And I'm particularly adamant about the fact of, 20 years ago, we used to have this saying sometimes that, the end users aren't technical.
Right.
That's not the case anymore. And if you
Right.
have an end user who's not technical, then you got to sit and work with them
Or
because
it's opposite. It's not that the end user isn't technical. It's that today the tools need to be for the low code. The
yeah,
tool, if your end user can't operate your solution, then you're not going to grow. You're not going to make it,
exactly,
right? So it's
exactly,
not even like they need to be technical anymore. It's like your solution needs to be in a business focused, business zoom in,
right.
um, to be able to be put in their hands. So it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that's
they've really
definitely the way
flipped
I
the
see it.
switch. So let's talk a little bit about 2025, and it sounds like you made huge strides. We love the Caprus team. I feel like they did a who's who of the EPM world and like
Yeah,
cherry picked,
that's great.
everyone, yeah, and put them under Lillian, who's like the biggest EPM bulldozer, Oracle bulldozer. We
Yep.
always joke.
Yeah, so I mean, known Lillian for years and really enjoy working with her, and her passion and vision for what she wants to do in this space. And she's kind of that guiding light right now as the executive of Capris and establishing what our mission is, and I'm loving supporting her on it. I think people are starting to respond really well. We're engaged in a number of different. It, we have a pipeline that's developing very well, and I'm excited about the
Right.
opportunities and what we're going to be doing there. So that was a big part of my 2025 was stepping away from those enterprise level roles that I've had for so many years, becoming independent, but then also partnering up with other people in a similar space and coming together and say what does the future of work look like? How do we partner together to meet the needs of different businesses using these really new interesting tools? Uh,
Yeah. Or what do you think of big challenges with regard to 2026?
Yeah, there's so many. And so, I think as we get into this, it's still just kind of a couple things continue to hold true. And the technology changes, the landscape changes, but there are certain foundational elements in business that are not changing. As much as we want to say they are, and as much as we want to sell solutions because there are still foundational elements. And so I go back to some key things like heterogeneous systems are still an issue, right? And so when I look at the work we're doing with AI, and you think about all the years back about why we built data warehouses, right? The ERP was going to solve all our problems. I'd have everything in one place. But that's not what happened, right? I have a bunch of stuff in my ERP, but then I needed EPM to look at it differently, or I needed a data warehouse because I had to bring in
To
operational.
summarize it and to roll it up and then roll it
Right.
down and then
So when I see these AI solutions embedded in a lot of products, I kind of get that same feeling of like, oh yeah, that's like this application has a really good reporting interface.
right.
Great if I have all my data in there. But ultimately, what happens in the whole world of business intelligence and analytics is built around this idea that, well, I need to be able to source from a lot of different places. And I think it's still the same obstacle and opportunity with AI to say, well, for my AI to be knowledgeable and useful, it's probably going to need access to more than just one big source of data. It's
So
going to
that
also need lots of small sources of data.
so that's exactly what we're actually doing with Caprus as a partnership, right? Or a
Yep.
player is able to create REST services, RPA bots, JSON connectors to
Yeah,
all different
exactly.
sources of Oracle data. And we're going to basically lob that over the fence to you guys to be able to utilize in your system. So that's kind of how I think our worlds collided about a year and a half ago when Lillian kind of approached me. She was like, "We have this thing that's like only talking to EPM, but how can it also talk to EBS
Exactly.
Postgres database? I saw something here."
Integrations are still critical.
Yeah,
And to that end, technical debt, data quality, all the things that, nobody likes to eat their vegetables, all the things that
Right.
enterprise architects talk about that leadership is not, as enthusiastic about, because it's like that's kind of the table stakes. But if you don't get it right, your investments and your solutions aren't going to deliver. You may get a mediocre answer faster, but it's still going to be a mediocre answer as opposed to a really great, insightful answer. And so I think that is, we still have to recognize that people need to, come over the hype curve, start to get a little bit baselined in what AI really is, that it is a tool, it's another technology, it's an amazing, incredible technology, but it still needs to be treated as technology. And, when you see, we're an AI company now, I kind of shrug that off. And unless you're Google or something, okay, fine, go be an AI company. But when a bank or a manufacturer says we're an AI company, it's like, well,
Right.
I think you're misunderstanding. Let's focus in on your business, and let's focus in on how AI helps you be better.
Yeah. I
Your
had a funny
competitive.
conversation today with a customer, an EBS customer, and they were like, he's the CTO. He's like, I'm so tired of everybody trying to shove AI and everything. He's like, we can't even find where to put it. Okay. He's
Yeah,
like, we're in EBS, 12.1. I'm like, you're not even on Applications Unlimited. You're not even under support, right?
yeah,
And so he can't have dashboards. He can't have the EBS functionality of like the basics, and they're trying to put AI everywhere.
yeah,
So that's kind of what's interesting. What you said, that's also our philosophy kind of at OraPlayer. What we've been doing is, utilizing AI to do things like document management, parsing
yeah,
PDFs, gathering the data. Then we use automation to validate the data. So we
yeah,
check EBS. Does this customer exist? Does this product exist? Does this SKU number exist? Is the price on the customer's price list, right? Once all the data is validated, then we could either get an approval from some end user that says, yeah, V sends it off, or they could click submit to automatically enter it into eBusiness Suite.
yeah,
Because we were seeing all these projects of people who were like, oh, it's so cool. I'm using, whatever automation tool, UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and I'm, throwing all this data into EBS. And then half of it was either failing because it was like basically triggering all the validation rules in EBS where, MIA is not the same as MIA Systems Ltd. So it would bounce out
exactly.
the receipts.
This is one of the things.
It made something that was supposed to make everybody so much more productive, like have so much more busy work. So we've kind of sectioned off AI, so to speak, into kind of like you have the AI, you have this automated validation world, and then you have the automated data entry. And we kind of keep those three separate. So
Yeah,
if you want to use any automation tool to just give us the data, great. We will then validate the data against whatever the data source is to make sure that it's not junk in, junk out, like you mentioned. And then you could automate it. You want to use UiPath to do the final inserts, or you want to use OraPlayer, or you want to use an API that comes, automatically from eBusiness Suite, whatever it is. At least the data is clean, validated,
yeah. Well,
and
what you're
secure.
touching on here is something that I'm particularly excited about and looking to when we talk about the possibilities of agentic AI, right?
Right,
I've often felt that RPA kind of fell short, and
right,
and it had to fall short because it was still deterministic, right? And I'd laugh. We'd look at RPA and I'd go, yeah, we used to call those batch scripts, right? And then we come to find out we call it compiled code, but it was a robotic process. But with agentic AI, what you get that's really interesting to me, and we did this for a client recently, is this idea of applying reasoning to the model, to exactly the point
right,
you made. Me is not the same as Mia dash admin, except it is.
right.
And so, or when somebody inserts a column into a spreadsheet and the job fails, the upload
Right.
fails, by applying the LLM to that and applying that reasoning, we can first revalidate the validation job and say, well, hold on a minute.
Mhm.
Why did it fail? Before I go notify somebody, why did it fail?
Right. And before you try to enter it and get an error message.
Unexpected column in the middle of the sheet.
Right.
Okay, well, what's the column? Employee ID number. All right, well, I know where employee ID number goes. I'm just gonna load it and fix it. Or maybe you say, well, I'll prompt someone, I'll send them a text. Hey, I noticed employee ID was added to the sheet. Do you want me to keep going? Yes.
Or I'm gonna add it for we would say we've gotten this piece of data, we've put it in employee ID. Please approve approve or reject the invoice, right?
Or just ignore it,
one button.
ignore it, right? And so that's where agentic AI, I think, really starts to make good on that promise. And this entire field of automation and integration is really going to leapfrog, because it has the ability to really deliver on the promise.
It's
that 10 years ago we
unbelievable.
weren't there yet. We wanted to be, but you can't code for every possible outcome. And now you can code open-ended and allow the LLM to integrate and reason and provide viable alternatives.
So that's kind of the beauty of it, right?
Yep.
You don't need to pre-map or preview anything, right? So some of the older generation tools that we've been replacing, they said, oh, every new vendor I put, I had to spend hours, days mapping every field. And if they changed the font, then it would get lost. We don't have that, right? We use
master data management.
AI, exactly. We use totally AI algorithm that actually learned what an invoice looks like. And it says, oh, if I don't have a ship to customer, then I know to find the logo and I can read the image of the logo. Or if the logo has a photo in it, I could go to this customer. So it kind of already understands the framework of what it's looking for. And then it could also, but then you could also add your own business validations, right? You could say, if something has, Inc. or LLC at the end, it's still the same as the customer name without that, right? If it's in caps or sentence case, it's still okay. And you can go even further. You could say, if it has the word system, consulting, whatever else, then show it to me, highlight it.
Exactly.
So
I like
we're
using
doing kind of this mix, right? This hybrid mix of
having the AI grade itself. How confident are you in what
confidence?
You decided?
It's like a confidence level.
Confidence index, right? And then anything below 95, maybe somebody, throw it on a report. Let somebody go back and look at it, right? But
we have a dashboard.
Exactly. And have agents that are taking action on those things.
Red, yellow, and green, right? Red means, look, it's failed completely. Yellow means you want to maybe check me out. Green means we went through automatically because everything checked out. But it's really exciting to see this new worlds of AI.
This is the space I'm looking. Like I said, so many years we tried to implement these things, and we got there in some ways, but there was always, the promise was always falling a bit short. I think we have a way to move the needle significantly right now.
Well, we're looking forward to moving the needle together in 2026. Thank you so much for joining us. We have such a good conversation. We're gonna have to do a part 2 once we have one of your newest customers logged on. You'll tell us a little bit about your use case, about the use case and the value they got from it. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe below, and we'll be in touch. Bye now.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.